Eyes down for the Morning folks, Monday, 10 o'clock, and our job today is to sort out this. I'm in what used to be the British Legion Hall, which was the equivalent of the other pub in Langtoft. There have been several pubs in Langtoft, but this was one of them. This was put up in about 1921. It's an ex-army hut, and my brother has been busily restoring it. It's had a new roof on. It's now got plastic slate on, which looks very good. As you can see, it's also had extensive roof repairs, and now has come to the time when it needs rewiring. And so in the late 60s, this is the original hut here. In the late 60s or early 70s, this extension was built on in brick, which was, there was a bar across here where we are now, and then that was the ladies' toilets through that door. The gents' toilets was on that back wall over there, and this was the bar area and seating area, and it closed a long time ago. But it's basically we've done a lot of repairs to it, but it's basically now very sound, and we've come to the point where we need to start doing the wiring. So today I'm going to rip out all this lot. That lot looks dodgy up there. I'm going to rip out all this lot, and we're going to start on getting it sorted out. Right, I'll go find Michael and we'll get stuck in. The idea first is to take all this off, take this boarding off here, put the insulation in behind it, and then start putting power back on. So we've got a meter up there, we've got an earth leakage circuit breaker there. This box is redundant because this box is for the heaters, which they're all over the place. These radiant heaters, which of course we won't be using. And this is the original, I would think. Let's see. Yes, this is a fused neutrals. This is a fused neutrals board, which has been converted by putting heavy fuse wire in the neutrals. It's an MAM Cantark, and that's black fuse is 10 amp, which is what I've done, so that the 5 amp fuse is always blown. This is the lighting board. I think that board up there, that new MEM board up there, also has the ring main in it, but I'm not sure about that yet. And then we have that ancient thing, the Bill main switch. There you go. Right, interesting stuff. Onward. Bye now. Right folks, an hour later and it's more or less all out. I've taken the service board off the wall so we can remove all that rotten timber from behind it, and then take those boards off and insulate it, and then put a temporary supply back and connect up a ring main and some lighting. So that's what we're going to do next. This is old-fashioned wiring. This is what it was like behind that bloody hell, behind that fused neutrals wooden fuse box. So ably held by my brother Michael. There we go. Right, onward. Bye now. Right folks, Monday, 5 o'clock. Lights are back on. Temporary light there. Temporary socket there. New mains board up with lots of temporary wiring on it. I've put the RCD back on to give us earth protection because we've no... Is that PME? This installation is connected to a network with protective multiple earthing. It is. So it's not actually got a PME service on it because it should have a block out there or out that side. So I could get a PME earth, but I can't because that service is completely coming out and a new 3-phase service is going in down here. So for now, that is it. And we're going to turn the power off by pressing the yellow test button. And I'll see you all tomorrow for a different sort of agony. Bye now. Morning folks. Tuesday lunchtime. No work is done here today. It's been raining all morning. But here is a Lovo light, my milling machine, and my overrun clutch, complete with the roll pin. You take the grease nipples out, you fit it to the tractor, you tap the roll pin through, put the grease nipples back in and grease it up, and then your drive shaft fits straight onto there. So, job's a good one. Right, I'm going to go and see Michael now because my wife wants her knife back. But first I'm going to get some bearings for a wheelchair, which I have in a tin up there. Okay, bye now. Good morning folks, or should I say good lunchtime. It's a damp and dreary day in Langtoft, with the mist seeping through the trees. Not very nice. Quite cold too. So, Friday. What have we got for today? We have 2 jobs. Job number 1, well 3 jobs actually. Job number 1, fit the overrun clutch to the tractor PTO, which will mean taking the PTO cover off. Job number 2, having found that the actual transformer, which should be in there, he said, zooming back, is missing, but no matter because it was cheap. Right, I doubt I'll be able to get another one, but never mind. But that's the part I wanted, that bit. So I'll take this to pieces. As you can see, it's a little bit rusty and scabby and worse for wear, so I shall take it to pieces, give it some paint, and reassemble it next week. And I'll put this on the mill, and I'll use the other bendy light that I've already rebuilt and fit to the mill, but not wired up yet. Probably on the lathe actually, because I could do with the light on the Covmac. I believe I have got a light for the Colchester, but I've got lights over both lathes, but it's still a bit dull down there. So look at the mess in this workshop. I don't know who does it, but it's always a mess. Right, I'm going to crack on with this. First thing I have to do is take the PTO, walking around the workshop pointlessly. I have to take the PTO cover shaft off. That's that one down there, which is 2 bolts or 3 bolts I think. And then we can take out the grease nipples. Take out these grease nipples. And here is a roll pin. Right, we've got to knock that roll pin through and through the hole in the PTO shaft. Put the grease nipples back in, grease it up, and the job's done. And then onto this. I'll see you all in a minute. Bye now. That's better. That's warming the place up. I'd quite happily run the workshop on that if it wasn't so damn noisy. And of course I run mine off the compressor because the air pump's knackered. And when the compressor starts up again, it's deafening. Never mind. Onward. PTO guard off and on the floor. 3 bolts. Right. I've got to line the shaft up with this pinhole now. So I need to find the hole in the shaft, take the grease nipples out with the overrun clutch, and then line it up and put it all together and tap the pin in. Bring you back when I'm on with it. Bye now. And there she is, folks, grease nipples out, pinhole lined up. I'm just going to put a bit of grease on this pin and tap it through, and that should do it. Bye now. There we are, folks. Pin tapped through till it's just flush with the centre and the outer part rotates freely without catching on it. Grease nipples back in, thanks in part to a 8th BSP tap, which managed to straighten up one of the damaged threads, which I hadn't damaged, so there, because one of the flipping grease nipples I noticed was incocked. Pumped it full of grease until it's oozed out the back. Job done. All I have to do now is refit the safety cover. Right, I'm on. There we go, folks, all back together. I had to curse that cover back on rather than rebolt it. It's all springy and loose, and when you take the bolts out it changes shape. But I got it back on and got it tightened up. My joy at curing the hydraulic leak was short-lived. It's still leaking and I can't see where from, and it isn't the tip pipe. The strangest thing about this, I mean, there's plenty, it only leaks a tiny bit and there's plenty of oil in the rear transmission, and the strange thing about it is it doesn't leak when it's under pressure. It leaks when you know, you can do all sorts with it. You can lift the blooming appliance, the attachment up, you can drop the attachment down, it doesn't leak. If you drop the attachment down to the floor and leave it, it drips. Not very much, maybe a couple of teaspoons full, but it drips. So I'm going to have a study at the manual and see if I can fathom out. But in the meantime, back on it. See you later. Right, folks, tractor's just been outside the workshop to have its photos taken for registration, photos of all its numbers and everything. That's the damned overrun clutch fitted. Thanks to a reminder from a viewer who said, I hope you've got that overrun clutch, because if you don't you'll smash all that nose cone up when it pushes you through a hedge. What happens is that inside here is a massive flywheel with 2 cutter bars on it. When that gets spun up to speed, of course it's connected to the prop shaft, and the prop shaft is connected direct to the gearbox in that unit under there. But that drives direct from the gearbox, and when you put your foot on the clutch you separate the engine from the gearbox, but you don't separate the gearbox from the wheels. And because this is still spinning at a great rate of knots, and it's still connected to the tractor gearbox, which is still connected to the wheels, it drives the tractor forward, right? And the only thing you can do is hang on to the brakes and pray, because this has stored a lot of energy and it shoves you forward, and people get shoved into ditches and shoved through hedges and all sorts. So I thought rather than do that, I would fit the overrun clutch. What the overrun clutch does is when the power's coming from the tractor, it drives the topper. But when the power's coming from the topper and going back that way up the drive shaft, that ratchets, it just clicks and allows the topper to spin down at its own speed. So not only are you not scaring yourself to death on the tractor, you're also not wrecking the topper by breaking it down fast and it wants to slow down. So there you go. So that's that done. That's that done. I think, dare I say it, touch wood, I think we are ready to go a grass cutting. I think we're finished and ready to go a grass cutting. Isn't that marvellous? So maybe if it stops bloody raining, next week we might go. Right, onward. Now what I've done so far is separated this from its empty box. I'll just turn the computer on now so I can just message the chap I bought it off and see if he has got the gubbins for in there. But who knows? Who knows? Right, onward. Bye now. So about an hour later, here we have a massive tray of bits. A reflector cleaned up on the outside, and the only reason I stripped it is that every joint in it was seized up or stiff and there's paint missing off it all over the place, so I'm just going to completely restore it and make it pristine and then get my greasy hands all over it. So there you go. Right, I'm going to carry on cleaning up and see how it turns out. Bye now. And there we go, folks. I've etch primed all the aluminium stuff. I overmixed the etch primer, but never mind. So that's all been etch primed and got a coat of grey. That's got a coat of grey inside and out. And these sticky legs have also got a coat of grey primer. So, with that said and done, and the workshop as usual in a terrible mess, I'm going to bid you all goodbye and see you all next week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Give us a like. Always press the like button, otherwise I should be very annoyed. And please comment. Please send comments in. I love answering them because I'm that sort of person. Alright, see you all next week. Bye now.